Let me be brutally honest with you right now. If you're waiting for January 1st to change your life, you're already behind. You don't need another New Year's resolution. You need a revolution in the way you think, move, and lead your life. The clock doesn't change you, decisions do. And before this year closes its final chapter, there are 5 things you must do if you want 2026 to be anything more than a repeat of your past. First, audit your life with ruthless honesty. Not passive reflection. I'm talking about a deep, penetrating evaluation of where your time, energy, money, and emotion have been going. What patterns did you repeat this year that kept you stuck? What habits drained your strength? Which relationships poured into your potential and which ones poisoned it? Most people avoid this type of clarity because it's uncomfortable, but discomfort is the birthplace of breakthrough. Lastly, get the strength. You can't change what you tolerate, so be surgical about it. Where are you settling? Where are you lying to yourself? Get real, get raw, and get ready to act. Second, forgive what broke you and let it go. I know some of you are still dragging the weight of betrayals, losses, and failures from the past, sometimes years ago. But here's the truth. Carrying that pain into another year is like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of bricks. You can't build your future with hands full of the past. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about freeing you. Let go. Not for them, for you. You've been bleeding long enough from wounds that no longer serve you. Clean them, heal them, move on. Third, decide who you're becoming right now. The most powerful transformation doesn't begin with goals. It begins with identity. Who are you becoming in 2026? Not what do you want to achieve, but who must you become to earn that vision? That version of you that's disciplined, clear, bold, loving, powerful, and focused, that version is already inside you. But it's not automatic. It's intentional. Speak like that person, walk like them, lead like them. Decide now, not later. Fourth, upgrade your environment and your circle. Your results are a reflection of your standards, and your standards are shaped by your environment. Look around you. Your physical space, your digital space, your emotional space, are they helping you grow or keeping you stuck? And what about the people you're allowing access to your mind and energy? If your circle isn't challenging you, it's chaining you. Sometimes you need to let go of what's familiar to step into what's freeing. Fifth, and this is mission critical, build a real plan for growth. Not a wish list, not vague hopes, a plan. Goals are dreams with deadlines and systems. You need to get clear on your strategy for physical health, mental toughness, financial expansion, skill mastery, and spiritual depth. Break it down into daily non-negotiables. Track progress. Adjust often. Don't wait for the motivation. It fades. Build momentum instead. That's what makes transformation stick. And finally, start before 2026 shows up. While others are waiting for the calendar to flip, you're already moving. The best advantage you can have is to enter January already in motion. You want to dominate the next 12 months? Then own the next 30 days. Momentum is a weapon. Use it now. You want to do something different next year? Then become someone different this year. Don't wait for the world to change. Be the one who changes first. Let this be the year that ends with power, not just parties. The year that doesn't just fade out, but sets fire to your future. Let's go. If you're serious about changing the trajectory of your life, the first thing you need to do before anything else is stop lying to yourself. You've got to sit down, strip away the noise, shut off the distractions, and look at your life with ruthless honesty. Because if you can't be real with yourself, you'll keep spinning in circles, repeating patterns, and wondering why nothing changes. Look at your year like a report card. But this isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. Ask yourself, where did my time actually go? What did I give my energy to? Who did I surround myself with? And how did they influence me? Did I move toward my goals or away from them? What did I say was important, and did my actions reflect that? Most people never do this. They go year after year reacting, not reflecting. They don't measure anything. They just feel their way through life and wonder why they're stuck. You can't build an extraordinary life off of guesswork. You need clarity. This audit isn't about being perfect. It's about being precise. Pull out your calendar. Look at how you spent your week. Where were the time leaks? Where did you overcommit to things that drained your focus and underinvest in things that moved you forward? Look at your bank statements. Your spending tells a story. What have you been funding? Your future or your impulses? Look at your health. How's your energy? How consistent have you been with your routines, your sleep, your food, your movement? You don't need to be a fitness model. You need to be functional. You need the energy to go after your vision. If your body's breaking down because of your habits, it's not just a health problem, it's a life problem. And don't forget your relationships. Who in your life is feeding your growth? Who's challenging you to rise? And who's constantly draining your drive, feeding your doubt, or keeping you emotionally stuck? Sometimes the people you've known the longest are the ones who see the old you the most. That's dangerous when you're trying to evolve. You need people in your corner who don't just know your past, they believe in your future. Go even deeper. What patterns do you keep repeating? Maybe you start strong but never finish. Maybe you sabotage when things begin to go well. Maybe you're afraid to speak your truth, or maybe you're stuck in perfectionism, so you never take the first step. These patterns are not your identity. They're just habits wired by repetition. But you can't rewire what you're not willing to acknowledge. And that's why this audit matters. There's a version of you waiting to be unleashed, but you'll never meet them if you keep hiding from the truth. This is about ownership. Nobody's coming to fix your life for you. Nobody's going to hand you discipline, direction, or peace. That's on you. But the good news is you're one decision away from changing it all. And that decision begins with facing the truth. This year doesn't need to end the way it started. But for that to happen, you need to look yourself in the mirror and call things what they are. If you've been slipping, own it. If you've been playing small, blaming others, delaying your growth, own all of it. Because when you own everything, you can change anything. This is your moment to get clear, to get honest, and to get in motion. No more hiding, no more denying. This is where the shift begins. This is the first step to a radically different 2026. There's a silent force that kills more dreams than failure ever could. Unforgiveness. It's the heavy emotional weight you carry when you refuse to let go of what hurt you. And most people don't even realize it's still inside them. You walk around trying to build a better future, but you're dragging the past like a dead weight chained to your ankles. And you wonder why it feels so hard to move forward. You're not stuck because you lack vision. You're stuck because you haven't released what's behind you. You can't bring unresolved pain into a new season and expect clarity. Some of you are still replaying the same betrayal over and over in your head. Some of you haven't gotten over what they said, what they did, or how they left. Others are still blaming themselves for things they didn't know back then, wishing they could go back and rewrite it all. But that's not how life works. You can't change the past, but you can change your relationship to it. And forgiveness is how you take your power back. You see, forgiveness isn't weakness. It doesn't mean you condone what happened or that it didn't matter. It means you're choosing to stop bleeding from the same wound. It means you're done letting a moment, a person, or a decision control your energy. Because when you hold on to bitterness, you don't hurt them, you poison yourself. The mind gets cloudy, the heart gets hard, and your future becomes blurry because your emotional bandwidth is still locked in yesterday. This is especially true when the pain was deep, when the betrayal came from someone close, when it wasn't just an event, it was a scar. But here's the truth you have to face. Healing doesn't come from justice. It comes from release. You may never get the apology. You may never understand why they did what they did, but you don't need their permission to be free. Forgiveness is not about them. It's for you. It's for your peace. It's for your next chapter. And let's not forget, some of the hardest forgiveness is the one you owe to yourself. For the moments you played small, for staying in situations you knew were wrong, for tolerating less than you deserved, for all the times you knew better but didn't act better. You can't keep punishing yourself and expect to rise. Self-forgiveness is not letting yourself off the hook. It's choosing to grow from it rather than drown in it. Learn the lesson, own it, and then let it go. You're human. You're not meant to get it perfect. You're meant to evolve. Imagine walking into 2026 lighter. No hidden resentment, no emotional debts, no old energy holding you back. You deserve that, but it only happens when you decide you've carried it long enough. That pain you've normalized, it doesn't belong in your next season. You've got goals to chase, people to impact, a life to build. You can't waste another year looking backward. It's time to release what no longer serves the person you're becoming. So take a deep breath. Think about what or who you need to forgive. Say it out loud. Write it down. Feel the pain, then choose to be done with it. You don't need to forget, but you do need to free yourself, because there's a life waiting for you on the other side of letting go. This is how your next chapter begins. Not in anger, not in shame, but in freedom. If you want 2026 to be different, you can't just change your goals. You have to change who you are becoming. The truth is, most people are chasing achievements without ever upgrading their identity. They want a better body, a stronger bank account, a more fulfilling relationship, but they're trying to create it with the mindset and emotional wiring of who they were last year. That's like trying to install a new life on an old operating system. It crashes every time. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You rise or fall to the level of your standards, and those standards are set by your identity. So ask yourself, who do I need to become to live the life I say I want? Not just what do I want to do, but who must I be? That version of you who's calm under pressure, who keeps promises to themselves, who wakes up early with purpose, who isn't swayed by doubt or distraction. That version isn't a fantasy. That version already exists inside of you, but it won't emerge on accident. You have to call it out. You have to make the decision to stop living by default and start living by design. You need to get painfully clear on the identity you're building. Is it someone who makes excuses or someone who finds a way? Someone who avoids discomfort or someone who grows through it? Someone who needs motivation or someone who moves regardless of how they feel? Every time you choose discipline over delay, every time you act in alignment with your future instead of your fear, you reinforce that identity. You don't wait to feel like the person you want to become, you act like them first. Identity follows behavior. And the moment you shift your identity, everything changes. You stop negotiating with yourself about whether or not you'll follow through. You stop relying on willpower to make hard choices. You simply become the person for whom those choices are automatic, because that's who you are now. And once you believe that, your behavior starts to align with it consistently. Not perfectly, but powerfully. Consistency is born from clarity, and clarity is born from identity. This isn't about faking it, it's about training it. Just like muscles grow through resistance, your identity strengthens through repetition. Repetition of thought, repetition of action, repetition of discipline. You speak the new version of yourself into existence until your nervous system accepts it as reality. You visualize it, you write about it, you move like it, and over time, your old self can't keep up. But here's the warning. If you don't define your identity, the world will do it for you. Your past will do it for you. Your fear will do it for you. The people who only know the outdated version of you will do it for you. And if you let them, you'll shrink into a version of yourself that plays safe, that avoids risk, that never really lives. That's the slow death of potential. Don't let that happen. So before 2026 begins, define it. Who are you becoming? What does that version of you believe about themselves? How do they show up daily? How do they speak? What do they allow? And what do they no longer tolerate? Make it so clear that nothing can shake it. Because once your identity is locked in, your actions begin to align without force. You don't just want to grow, you expect it. You're not chasing a better life. You're becoming a better version of yourself, and that shift changes everything. Your environment is either shaping your greatness or suffocating it. There is no neutral ground. If you're not consciously upgrading the space you live in, the voices you listen to, and the people you keep close, you are unconsciously choosing to stay the same. Most people never change because they're surrounded by things that constantly remind them of who they've always been. You can't evolve in a place that's committed to your old identity. You need to make a decision to upgrade everything around you to match the person you're becoming, not the person you were. Take a look around your physical space. Is it designed to support your growth or distract you from it? Your environment should reflect clarity, purpose, and discipline. Clutter kills momentum. Chaos kills creativity. You can't think big when you're operating in a space that makes you feel small. Build a space that energizes you, not one that reminds you of procrastination and disorganization. This doesn't require money. It requires intentionality. Make your space a reflection of where you're going, not where you've been. Now look at your digital environment. Your phone, your feed, your notifications. Are they pulling you into purpose or pulling you into comparison, distraction, and anxiety? But as one scroll can shift your mindset for the rest of the day. Most people are being programmed by what they consume and don't even realize it. You need to guard your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. Curate your content like you curate your diet. Garbage in, garbage out. It's that simple. And then the biggest factor of all, the people you allow into your inner circle. Nothing impacts your standards, mindset, and habits more than your relationships. Look around. Who do you talk to every day? Who do you share your goals with? Who influences your thinking when no one else is around? Because whether you see it or not, those people are either raising your standards or normalizing mediocrity. If your circle isn't growing, you won't either. If your circle avoids accountability, so will you. If your circle plays safe, you'll stay stuck. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones most threatened by your growth. Not because they're evil, but because your growth highlights their stagnation. And instead of rising with you, they'll try to anchor you back to their comfort zone. That's not loyalty. That's limitation. You have to be brave enough to outgrow people without apologizing for it. Elevation requires separation, not because you're better, but because you're building different. This doesn't mean you cut everyone off and isolate yourself. It means you become hyper-intentional about who has access to your energy. Your future is too valuable to be casual about the voices you allow into your mind. Find people who challenge you, people who stretch you, people who speak to the highest version of you, not just the most convenient version. And if you don't have them yet, seek them out. Read their books, watch their videos, learn from a distance until you can connect up close. When you upgrade your environment, growth becomes the default, not the exception. You stop relying on willpower to change because your surroundings start to pull you forward. You start thinking bigger. You start moving faster. You stop settling. And when your surroundings shift, your identity follows. That's how transformation begins. So don't wait until January to change your life. Change where you live. Change what you allow. Change who you listen to. When your environment reflects your vision, you become unstoppable. Hope is not a strategy. Motivation fades. Inspiration runs out. If you want real transformation in 2026, you need more than hype. You need a plan. Not a vague idea or a list of wishes, but a battle-tested, step-by-step roadmap that turns your goals into measurable progress. The future doesn't reward those who dream the loudest. It rewards those who execute the most consistently. And execution only happens when your vision is backed by structure. Start with clarity. What does growth look like to you? Not in abstract terms like I want to be better or I want to be rich. That's not a plan. It's a fantasy. Be precise. How much do you want to earn? How much weight do you want to lose? What specific skill do you want to master? How many books will you read? What new routines will you build? Growth without specificity leads to frustration because you never really know if you're moving or just spinning. Once you're clear, break it down into targets that can't be negotiated. Monthly, weekly, and daily actions that align with your long-term vision. You don't need to do 1,000 things. You just need to do the right things consistently. Simplicity scales, discipline compounds. What gets measured gets improved. So track it. Build a system that shows you the truth, not just how you feel on any given day. Because feelings are fleeting, but structure is what carries you through when motivation disappears. And let's be honest, it will disappear. You're going to have days when you don't feel like showing up, days when life gets messy, pressure builds, and excuses seem justified. And that's where most people break. But if you've built a plan that's grounded in discipline, not emotion, you won't stop, you'll adjust. That's what makes a plan battles tested. It's flexible enough to adapt, but strong enough to keep you anchored when everything around you is trying to pull you off course. And that plan can't just be about achievement. It has to be about alignment. You're not just chasing numbers. You're building the kind of person who can handle them. So your plan needs to include mental resilience, emotional mastery, physical vitality, and spiritual depth. If you grow your bank account but lose your health, you've failed. If you build a reputation but lose your peace, you've lost. Your growth plan has to be whole, or you'll always feel half filled. Every area of your life needs intentional input. So ask yourself, what does growth look like in my body? What does growth look like in my mind? How will I become emotionally stronger, spiritually deeper, relationally wiser? And what systems will I put in place to ensure this isn't just another idea that fades in February? This is where the separation happens. Most people will talk about their goals. Very few will map them out. Fewer still will track and refine them every week. But that's the difference between people who live in cycles and people who live with strategy. Cycles keep you repeating. Strategy moves you forward, even when it's slow, even when it's hard. So before the year ends, build your system. Design your calendar around your values. Set your non-negotiables. Define your success markers. Review weekly. Adjust monthly. Let your plan become a mirror, one that reflects where you are and reminds you where you're going. This is the blueprint for growth. Not luck, not hope, ownership. You want change in 2026? Then stop waiting for it to happen. Design it, track it, build it. This is your construction year. Make every move count. Most people wait until the calendar changes to change themselves. They think January 1st holds some kind of magic, as if a new year is going to fix old habits. But it never does, because the real shift doesn't happen when the year turns. It happens when you decide. And the truth is, if you're waiting for the new year to become new, you've already lost your edge. Success belongs to those who move before the world wakes up. While the majority are sleeping in December, waiting to press reset, the few are already in motion. That's the separation. Momentum is the real secret, not willpower, not hype. Momentum is what builds confidence, reinforces habits, and stacks wins. And momentum doesn't show up on January 1st. It shows up the moment you stop negotiating with yourself and start. Start messy, start small, start tired, but start now. Because when the clock hits January, you'll already be ahead. You won't be trying to build discipline. You'll be deep in it. You won't be searching for clarity. You'll already be locked in. That head start becomes your competitive advantage. Most people underestimate how hard it is to get going from a dead stop. They treat the new year like a sprint, burning out by the second week because they tried to flip a switch they hadn't prepared for. But when you start in December, or even earlier, you're not reacting, you're building. You're laying the foundation. You're identifying the weak spots in your system, fixing the friction points, and getting the reps in before the pressure is on. You're stepping into 2026 with rhythm, not rust. This is the mindset shift. Stop seeing December as the end. Start seeing it as your launch pad. While others are coasting, resting, or quitting early, you're refining your habits, locking in your routines, clarifying your goals. You're not waiting for motivation. You're creating motion. Because when the world is quiet, it's the perfect time to focus. No noise, no pressure, no distractions. Just you and the work. And don't fall into the trap of perfection. The goal isn't to have it all figured out. The goal is to get in motion, to move with urgency, to begin aligning your life with the identity you've chosen. That first workout, that first disciplined morning, that first hour of deep work, it doesn't have to be pretty, but it has to be done. Because every time you act in alignment with your future, you're voting for that version of you. You're reinforcing who you're becoming. And that is how transformation sticks. Not through inspiration, but repetition. This is what most people miss, the compound effect of getting started early. It's not just about having a few extra weeks. It's about the mindset you carry into the new year. You walk in confident, not confused. You walk in focused, not frantic. And while everyone else is still trying to shake off the holiday hangover, you're already in flow. You don't have to catch up. There's a massive difference between starting fresh and starting ready. The people who win in 2026 won't be the ones who waited. They'll be the ones who started before the lights came on. They'll be the ones who made moves in silence, who prepared while others paused, who stepped into the year already in stride. So stop waiting. Stop planning to begin. Begin. Let the end of this year be your ignition point. What did this year, how did it make you more prepared, more confident, more successful, and more freedom? Let the wisdom from this year be your ignition. Stack the habits now. Create the routines now. Build the fire now, because when 2026 shows up, it won't be time to start over. It'll be time to take over.